Marriage is built on trust. Or so I thought. For 5 years, I believed my wife, Vanessa, was my partner in everything: love, struggle, dreams. We had our fair share of ups and downs, but I never doubted her loyalty. That changed the night I overheard a conversation that shattered everything. It was nearly midnight. I had just finished working late and was about to head to bed when I noticed the light from the office creeping under the door. Curious, I moved closer. That's when I heard her voice, soft, excited, breathless in a way that sent ice through my veins. "I can't wait to see you," she whispered. "It's been too long. I miss your hands on me. Next weekend, baby. Just us. No distractions. My husband? Don't worry, he has no clue. He's so wrapped up in work, he won't even notice I'm gone." I felt like the floor had been ripped from beneath me. My breath caught, heart hammering against my ribs. A sickening wave of nausea twisted in my gut. This wasn't some casual chat. This was my wife, my faithful wife, arranging a romantic getaway with another man. My hands curled into fists as I backed away, mind spinning. Every memory, every moment we had built together, now felt like a lie. Had I missed the signs? Had I been so blind? Instead of storming in and confronting her, I forced myself to stay calm. Bursting in would only give her a chance to lie, cover her tracks, manipulate the situation. No, I needed proof. I crept back to bed, my body tense, mind racing. Lying beside her that night felt unbearable. Every breath she took, every peaceful sigh as she slept, filled me with rage. But I stayed still, playing my part, pretending I was clueless. The next morning, Vanessa hummed as she got ready for work. She looked radiant, glowing even, as she poured her coffee. "Hey babe," she said sweetly. "Got a work trip next week. Gonna be out of town for a few days. Some marketing conference in Miami. Boring stuff." I met her gaze, forcing a smile. "That sucks. Wish I could come with you." She laughed, shaking her head. "Trust me, you wouldn't enjoy it. Just a bunch of PowerPoints and networking." Liar. I kissed her cheek as she left, the taste of betrayal lingering on my lips. The moment the door shut, I sprang into action. First, I needed details. Accessing her email wasn't hard. Vanessa was predictable. She used the same password for everything. Within minutes, I found her flight confirmation, hotel reservation, and worst of all, messages from her lover. His name was Jason. They had been planning this work trip for months. "Jason, can't wait to have you all to myself. That husband of yours still clueless?" "Vanessa, totally. He's so busy, he won't even notice I'm gone. I'll make it worth your while, baby." My stomach churned, but anger kept me steady. She had underestimated me. That was her first mistake. Now it was my turn to play. Vanessa thought she was clever. She believed I was too busy, too distracted to notice her lies. That was her second mistake. While she continued playing the role of a devoted wife, I worked in silence, crafting the perfect revenge. My plan wasn't just to catch her. It was to make her feel the humiliation, the betrayal, the raw pain she had so effortlessly inflicted on me. The first step was information. I dug deeper into her messages, piecing together her itinerary. Flight, Miami first class. Hotel, 5-star resort with an oceanfront suite. Duration, 4 days of passion with her secret lover, Jason. Disgust churned inside me, but I swallowed it down. I needed to stay focused. My next move? Making sure she never saw this coming. The morning of her departure, Vanessa packed her bags, careful to keep her expression neutral. But I could see it, the excitement dancing in her eyes, the suppressed smile as she zipped her suitcase shut. "I'll miss you," she said, pressing a kiss to my lips. "Call me if you need anything, okay?" I forced a warm expression. "Of course, babe. Have a great trip." I watched her leave, my blood boiling beneath the surface. The moment her car disappeared down the street, I sprang into action. I had already booked my own flight. Same airline, same destination, but under a different name. Thanks to a friend in cybersecurity, I secured a reservation in a room right next to hers. The hotel staff wouldn't suspect a thing. As the plane soared through the sky, I imagined what she was doing, how she was probably messaging Jason, giddy with anticipation. It sickened me. When I landed in Miami, I wasted no time. Checking into my suite, I scanned the room, my heart pounding. Everything was going according to plan. Then, I stepped onto the balcony. And there she was. Vanessa stood on the balcony next to mine, laughing as Jason wrapped his arms around her from behind. Her head tilted back against his chest, eyes closed, lips parted in pure bliss. She had never looked at me like that. Rage burned through my veins, but I didn't let it consume me. Instead, I smirked. Game on. Standing on my balcony, I watched Vanessa melt into Jason's arms, her laughter blending with the sound of the waves crashing below. The sight twisted a knife in my gut, but I refused to let my emotions take control. Revenge required patience. Instead of barging in and exposing them immediately, I set my plan in motion. First, I needed evidence. I had brought a high-resolution camera, its zoom lens capturing every intimate moment between them, her eager kisses, his hands roaming her body, their playful whispers. With each snapshot, I solidified my case, ensuring Vanessa's lies would unravel spectacularly. That evening, I tailed them to the restaurant. They dined under dim candlelight, Jason feeding her forkfuls of steak as she giggled, her fingers tracing circles on his wrist. I recorded everything from a discreet distance, my stomach churning at the sight of her fawning over another man. She had called our anniversary dinner last month boring. Yet here she was, glowing for someone else. But the grand finale was still to come. After their romantic meal, they strolled hand in hand to their suite. I let them disappear inside before making my move. Pulling out my phone, I dialed Vanessa's number. She answered on the third ring, voice breathless. "Hey babe. Everything okay?" I smirked. "Yeah. Just wanted to check on you. How's the conference?" A brief pause. Then, she recovered. "Oh, long meetings, boring presentations. Wish you were here." I could hear Jason in the background, the unmistakable sound of ice clinking in a glass. "Oh yeah," I said smoothly. "Maybe I should surprise you. Show up at your hotel and take you out for a romantic night." Vanessa laughed nervously. "No need, babe. It's really just a work trip. Super exhausting. You wouldn't have any fun." I bit back a laugh. "Well, that's disappointing." "Yeah," she said, clearing her throat. "Listen, I should go. Big early morning session tomorrow. Love you." I hung up without responding. Time for the real fun to begin. I had already tipped off hotel security, informing them of a disturbance in Vanessa's room. In just a few minutes, they'd come knocking. But before that, I had one last move to make. Walking up to their door, I slipped an envelope underneath. Inside was a single printed photo, Vanessa and Jason, locked in a passionate kiss on their balcony. On the back, I had written just 2 words, "Smile, sweetheart." Then, I stepped back and waited. The moment the envelope slipped under the door, I stepped away, blending into the shadows of the hallway. My heart pounded with anticipation, adrenaline fueling every second. Inside the suite, muffled voices filtered through the door. Then, silence. I imagined Vanessa bending down, curiosity flickering in her eyes as she picked up the envelope. The rustle of paper. The sharp intake of breath. The panicked whisper as she showed Jason the incriminating photo. Then came the moment I had been waiting for. A loud knock on the door. "Hotel security," a deep voice called. "We received a noise complaint." I heard scrambling inside, the sound of hurried whispers, frantic footsteps. Vanessa's voice wavered. "And no, everything's fine." Another knock, firmer this time. "Ma'am, we need to verify." The door creaked open slightly. A security officer peered in, then took a step forward. His eyes landed on Jason, shirtless, hair tousled, standing in the middle of the room. Vanessa, still in her barely there dress, tried to block his view. "Sir, are you a registered guest?" Jason hesitated. I was just visiting. The officer's gaze hardened. I need to see identification. If you're not a listed guest, you'll need to vacate immediately. I stifled a chuckle. This was just the beginning. Vanessa was panicking now. I could hear it in her rushed tone. I swear, he's just a friend. There's no issue here. Security wasn't buying it. They stepped in further, eyes sweeping the room. That's when I made my move. I strolled down the hallway and leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Everything okay, sweetheart? I said smoothly. Vanessa's head snapped toward me, color draining from her face. Jason stiffened, his eyes darting between us. My wife swallowed hard. What are you doing here? I smiled, tilting my head. You mean at this boring marketing conference? I stepped closer, my voice mockingly soft. Thought I'd surprise my loving wife. Her mouth opened, then closed. She had no words. Jason cleared his throat. Look, man, I don't know who you are. I turned to him, amusement flickering in my gaze. Oh, you don't? That's funny, considering you've been screwing my wife. I pulled out my phone, swiping through the photos. Need a reminder? Vanessa lunged forward. Please, let's talk. I stepped back, shaking my head. Talk? You had plenty of chances to talk. Instead, you chose to lie. My tone turned icy. But don't worry, babe. I'm just getting started. With a flick of my finger, I sent the photos. Not just to Vanessa. Not just to Jason. To her friends. Her family. Her workplace. She gasped, watching in horror as her phone buzzed violently in her hands. I could see the messages rolling in already. Shocked texts, disappointed replies. Her perfect little world? Crumbling. Jason, realizing he was caught in the crossfire, grabbed his things. I'm out, he muttered, pushing past security. Vanessa reached for me, tears brimming in her eyes. I can explain. I took one last look at the woman I once loved. The woman who had laughed in another man's arms while I had trusted her completely. No need, I said, turning away. You already did. And with that, I walked out, never looking back.